All right. Good evening. And welcome to another edition of Import Export Platform, Facebook Live from Territory Best Trade Academy. And my name is Dele Ayemibo. We continue our conversation on the what, the why, the how to export to Nigeria. And I'll be shifting gear today to talk more a little about direct and indirect export and the various dimensions of direct and indirect export, and as it applies to the Nigerian market, direct and indirect export, and as it applies to the Nigerian market. Alternate entry mode available to export market were identified and categorized, as I've discussed in the morning. For those that remember, if you have listened to that, and we talk about the two basic forms which are distinguished on the basis of how the exporter firm carry out the transaction. The decision between the two forms involved determining the level of vertical control desired by the exporter, and this involved considering the two types of cost: the cost of actually performing necessary function of export, and the transaction cost that arise in the organization of an activity or the contracting with other parties. The two approaches basically involve direct and indirect. Indirect, I'm very much involved, carrying out all the processes into the export market. In indirect, I'm not very much involved. So, for example, a manufacturer can decide to sell his goods to an exporter in his country, who will then export the good abroad, or the manufacturer export the good itself to a wholesaler in the export market, or a retailer in the export market. If he exports to the wholesaler in the export market, the wholesaler can export to the retailer in the export market or larger consumer in the export market. Same goes for the exporter. If he's selling to an exporter in his own country, so for example, you want to enter the Nigerian market, the good is given to someone, let's say from Rwanda to Nigeria. Given to someone in Rwanda. I'm using Rwanda because I'm impressed with the performance of Rwanda. Give this to someone in Rwanda, and Mashura give it to someone, and the person in Rwanda ship it to Nigeria. Or the Rwanda manufacturer is shipping the goods to a manufacturer in Nigeria, to a distributor in Nigeria, or shipping the goods to a retailer in Nigeria. If he ships the goods to a retailer in Nigeria, the retailer will send it to the end user. If he ships it to the wholesaler or distributor in Nigeria, that one will send to the retailer and then to the end user. If he gives it to the exporter in Rwanda, that also will ship it down to Nigeria, either to a retailer or to a distributor in Nigeria. So when I'm in my country, I have two options. I have the export merchant, I have the export agent right in my country. I can do indirect export through export merchant or through export agent. Or I can do direct export through import merchant or import agent. Or I can do it through a subsidiary in the export market. These are multiple options available to me. Indirect export occurs when exporting manufacturer uses independent organization located in the producer's country to ship the goods. In addition, the producer may have an independent export organization, for example, an export department that works with the independent organization and coordinate the entire export effort. In this situation, the independent organization does not actively engage in the actual international sales activity. I will now talk about different options, and I will link them to how it applies right in the case of Nigeria. I'll talk about how it applies right in the case of Nigeria. Home country based merchant. Home country based merchant. So if I'm shipping, someone is shipping from Rwanda to Nigeria and is using home country based merchant, this is a domestic based export merchant that buy and sell on his own account. So he buys it from the manufacturer in Kigali, for example, and move it. That merchant move it to Nigeria. But that merchant buys to resell. And he determines his price. He buys to resell and determine his price. Generally, engage in both exporting and importing. It operates in a manner similar to regular domestic wholesaler. When this type of marketing organization is used in an export marketing channel, the marketing job of manufacturer is reduced essentially to domestic marketing, because someone else is taking on the job of exporting. So, for example, I ship pap to UK. I did one again this week. In getting that done, I basically pick up the goods from the manufacturer as a merchant, and I'm going to ship it to another merchant in the UK, London precisely. And from there, it distributes. And from there, it distributes. The domestic-based merchant buys and sells on his own account. He buys and sells on his own account. All aspects of international marketing tasks are handled by this merchant. So you are trying to come into Nigeria, you have someone in your country who is doing all the job. So that means even though I am in Nigeria as a manufacturer, my products are in Nigeria as a manufacturer, but I am not directly involved in the shipment because I'm doing indirect export. I am not directly involved in the shipment because I'm doing indirect export. I'm doing indirect export. I'm doing indirect export. All aspects of international marketing tasks are handled by this merchant except for any needed modification in such things as the product in itself, the packaging of the product, the quality, the quantity included in a unit pack to meet any special need of the individual market. So my only involvement is when there is any necessary modification. When there is any necessary modification. When there is any necessary modification, as an exporter, I will be involved. And I will do the job. Why? There is some necessary modification. Ordinarily, I will not be involved at all. The country might have issue with my packaging, might have issue with my labeling, Like if you are shipping to Nigeria, for example, and it's food item, you need to know exactly what NAFDAC expected. What is NAFDAC expectation as far as labeling is concerned? If you don't know NAFDAC is an agency in Nigeria. It's called the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. So, depending on the country you are going in Africa, like in the case of Nigeria now, the country you are going, that determines also how it will be labeled. So, the modification that will be done on that program or product is going to likely depend on what the demand of the market we are going is. It's going to likely depend on what the demand of the market we are going is. And that might be your involvement. That might be the only involvement you will need or you have. That might be the only involvement. Why? That might be the only involvement because in this kind of shipment where I'm engaging home-based merchant, I don't need to worry about international marketing. And that means just the way I do to my shipment to UK, I don't need to own a product in order for me to be an exporter. I don't need to own a product in order for me to be an exporter. I don't need to own a product. I can be an export merchant. This also includes selecting the channel within the foreign market, as well as activities relating to sales, marketing, merchandising, advertising, delivery, and services. All aspects of international marketing tasks are going to be handled by the merchant, including the selection of channel in the export market is going to be handled by the merchant. The sales and marketing in the export market is going to be handled by the merchant. Advertising, delivery, and after-sales service is going to be handled by the merchant. And this is so critical and very, very important. This is so critical and very, very important. It gives an insight into what is possible and what an exporter should be looking at, probably considering. If you're able to get someone to take all this stress off you. I'm of the opinion that international trade should be a division of labor. Meaning that I don't need to do everything. As a matter of fact, if I decide I want to do everything, I might burn out. If I decide that I want to do everything, I want to be involved in everything, I might burn out. Why? It will be stressful. It will be stressful. I won't be efficient. I won't be efficient. If I have many people in the chain and everybody makes money in the chain, everybody ensure that they do their own part in the chain, because if they don't do their own part, they don't make the money. That for me is a good model. I do that a lot on the export, and I think it has worked for me. The export merchant company is free to choose what he will buy, where it will buy, and at what price it will buy. Same freedom exists for him in the sales. Because he's an export merchant, he decides what he wants to buy. He decides where he wants to buy it. He decides the price with which he wants to buy it. He decides everything for himself. Why? He is the export merchant. The export merchant. He decides himself. He decides himself. There are some potential limitations to using export merchant. First, they may not be available for all markets. That's the challenge. So when you're trying to get merchants in your country, you know, sometimes you might have merchants in your country who are already used to West African market. These are the people you want to work with. People in your country that are very used to West African market. Those are the people you want to work with. Because they are already used to West African market. Those are the people you want to work with. It makes life easy for you. But the disadvantage is that you might see merchant who does not play in the West African market or does not play in the product you sell. So it might not be available in the market. Export merchants are principally interested in staple commodities. You know why? Because they are generally open market items, not subject to a high degree of identification by the producer, and they are reluctant to undertake the development details and expense of the introduction and sales of any article that approaches the status of a specialty, which might require considerable amount of sales effort. So a typical merchant wants to deal in commodity. Why? Everybody already know the commodity. You don't need to worry about who we buy. Everybody know the commodity already. And that's a drawback on engaging a merchant. That's a drawback. And Roro Muba, thank you very much. I appreciate your comment. I appreciate. It's a drawback. So at any point in time, when you are trying to export and you are looking for an export merchant, it's going to be a brilliant idea if you can get them. But the challenge is that you might not be able to get them. But when you get them, most likely they are already used to that market. You know, there are so many products transversing West Africa to Nigeria, Nigeria to West Africa. If you have anybody doing that already in your country, under the AFCFTA, it makes life a lot easier. Sincerely, merchants, in my opinion, are job creators. They put pressure on manufacturers to produce more, thereby helping the manufacturer to grow, to increase, to expand, because they keep pushing the product into the market. I do that for about 4 or 5 products. And sincerely, I love it. I just feel that an SME manufacturer should not worry about market. That's my opinion. That's what I feel. An SME manufacturer should not worry about market. An SME manufacturer should worry more about quality, pricing, efficient production. If he worries more about that, he will find it easier to grow significantly. Why? Because at the end of the day, At the end of the day, the people that are selling the product in the various markets are going to help him grow the business. That's why some businesses celebrate their merchant a lot. Some conglomerates in Nigeria, they celebrate their distributor a lot. The distributor is the one that keeps them in the business. Distributor makes you to concentrate on what is most important for you, which is production. I'll continue definitely on Monday. I've ruled out weekend now. Saturday, Sunday, I'm just too tired, feel sleepy, start lecture early. So we'll continue on Monday, and I'll move on to home country based agent. And we have about 4 or 5 of them. Quite a number actually, quite a number of home country based agent. Thank you very much for listening. See you on Monday. Bye for now.